Which house?
I don't know. You lived in a green house on the corner.
The house was green for a while.
I lived directly across the street. Northeast. Yeah. I lived directly across the street from you in a big white house.
God damn, really?
I don't think we didn't hang out or anything then. I think we were much younger.
Well, yeah.
And at that age, even like
1 year was a lot.
Well, we're the same age though.
But
grade wise, it was just enough to where we didn't have anything to do with each other. Because I remember your dad, but I don't remember you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but I don't remember what house it was that you lived in.
I don't know. It was a big white house. It was Snetchlers. I lived right next door to the Snetchlers. The Snetchlers lived on the corner.
Yes.
And I lived in the big white house right next door to Snetchlers.
Holy fuck. Across from Chapman's.
Right across from the Chapmans.
Or,
Chapman's. Chapman's, yes. Yeah, wife had real curly, crazy, like afro hair.
Alice.
Yeah, she's a very nice
Alice
lady.
And Jean.
Yeah.
And then the boys were Mike and Tim.
I don't remember the boys. I just remember the parents.
And the really cool one was, I'm friends with him on Facebook. I can't think of names right now, but Scott. Yeah, we lived They were a great family. Loved them.
Yeah, I lived right across the street from you.
God damn.
Yep.
It must have been like when I was in 5th or 6th grade.
We were young. It was even before that, possibly.
It could have been.
Yeah. I mean, it was... I moved to that town when I was in 3rd grade, so it may have been 4th, 5th, somewhere in that area.
At the time, I was only there in the summer.
Possibly. And that may be why I remember your dad.
More than me.
And more than you. I just knew that it was you that lived there.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's probably a good thing that you weren't living there later on in life, because that would have been super easy for us to get in a lot of trouble.
We could have gotten a lot of trouble anyway. I know we didn't hang out much in high school, but when we did, I know it was just stupid.
It was ridiculous stuff. Yeah. And then after that, we would actually we would get in trouble quickly if caught. Yes, yeah. We pushed the envelope immediately.
We pushed, and I don't care. I mean, we don't have to talk about that if we don't want to.
I don't know if we should.
Oh, I don't care. We won't. I won't talk about it if you won't.
We can talk about it next time.
Yeah, that's fine.
We'll see how it goes.
Okay, because let's just say that there was one time when I lived in that town that my name was on a piece of paper pinned up on the police station bulletin board.
Yeah.
With a few other names for doing things that I shouldn't be doing, but they could never catch me.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, at one point I remember lighting at 2 a.m. Matt Cowell and I think Andy Ziegler. I don't remember who else. Probably Jim Martin. I lit a 36 pack.
Yes.
No, it was a 64 pack of what they call a battery pack.
Yep.
Of whistlers.
Okay.
They don't have a tail on them. They didn't have a stick, but they would shoot from this box. So we set it on a roof above the police station at 2 a.m. on a Saturday, and then we lit it. And so 64 of these whistlers shot against the police station door.
That is awesome.
And then we waited until they came out, and then we waved and yelled because they didn't know where it came from. We're like, we're up here.
Yeah.
And then they came running because we were in 7th grade or 8th grade, and we could easily outrun them.
Oh, yeah. Can I tell you something?
Yes.
I mean, I hate to diminish your story because that was awesome, but I have you beat.
Good.
Yes. I actually walked up. This is a small...
I know this.
This is a small town. It's funny you talk about being on the roof. Yeah. It's amazing how many of those roofs you could just go in the back of and climb up upstairs, and you're on the roof of all the Main Street buildings.
Yes,
that was always amazing to me.
Yeah, and it's such a small town, you can see everything.
That's a whole other story about the white suits and snow and hiding. But to beat your story, I actually walked up. This is old school police station that actually had a mail slot.
Yes, I remember.
In the door.
I know the story.
Yes,
tell it.
Yes, I don't know who I was with. I honestly do not remember that part. I may have been by myself. I don't know. But I'm sure I wasn't. I actually think I do know who I was with.
You wouldn't have done it on your own because you have to have a witness.
You have to have a witness because it's not funny if it's not.
Right.
But yes, I actually walked up to the door of the police station and lit a pack of Black Cat firecrackers, and put them into the mail slot
That is so
of the police station door.
That is the best. And you know that they had to love that.
Oh, they had to love it.
Yeah, I mean they had to pretend like they didn't like it, but they loved it.
You know they did. You know, what else are they doing?
Exactly.
What else are they doing?
I'm friends with one of those guys, a police officer there now.
Yeah.
Andrew Steck.
I have no idea.
And he and I share. He friended me. I didn't know who he was, but so I had a lot of mutual friends, so I did it. And then, but we have a lot of shit in common as far as anything. And he would love this story too. I mean, just judging from what his Facebook posts are, I think he'd love it.
And it's good. I'm hopefully some of the kids in that town. I mean, I don't know what they do now, but when we grew up, we had some cool police officers.
We did.
They played games with us. I remember Jim Black.
Yes.
Would play hide and go seek with me and Jeff Nelson on Saturday nights.
Yeah.
And you know what? We would play hide and go seek. We would go hide in a car somewhere, and he would drive around the town and see if he could find us.
Dude, that's
and he always told us, he's like, I would rather know that you guys were here in town doing whatever you're doing than being out, wherever.
Yeah.
And we used to have fun. You know, it was a good time.
Well, you had English. We had at the time English, Black,
Jordan. Yeah. What was that one's name?
Whole.
What was that one's name?
Which one?
The one that lived across the street from the old Harris School.
Oh, Sexton.
Yeah,
Sexton wasn't cool.
No, and neither was that other one that still lives in that town. So
really?
I won't say his name.
Another one?
Yeah, I remember he was part-time, and I don't think he was actually a police officer. They just gave him a gun and a uniform.
Yeah, Sexton gave me a lot of. He hassled me a bunch.
Yeah, he was the one cop in Farmington that Farmington was a very small town. No crime.
Still is.
And still is. And he would be the one that you see like out the Farmington Pizza Company off duty with his gun strapped to his the back of his belt. Because I'm a cop. So.
Yeah, because he's gonna need it in Farmington.
Yeah, because he might need it. Yeah.
Yeah. There was Whole.
I don't remember that one.
He was a younger guy, and Helena and I, we were smoking weed. Vince and I were up at Skelly Station playing guitar.
Where?
In our band, the Skelly Station by, Kitchen Cooked.
Yeah.
We were up there, and we were drinking, and we were playing guitar before we could find a band. So Vince and I were just sitting there playing electric guitar together. So, but I guess you got to start somewhere. And Helena and Melissa showed up. Melissa Dubit.
Yep.
They show up because they're drinking. And Helena and I were always friends. So for some reason, her and I take off in her car, and we're doing Rush.
Yes, Rush? I loved Rush.
Yeah, me too. We were doing Rush, smoking weed, drinking beer, and I said something. And Helena and I talk about it like once a year.
You just wrote a country song.
I think you're right. I did. Hand me a guitar. And I said something, and I remember her looking at me, and she's just dying laughing. And she goes, "That's the funniest fucking thing I ever heard." And right then, we hit a fucking ditch. Because she never quit looking at me. And we hit this ditch, and the car flipped over. But we landed. It flipped around, if that makes sense. It flipped in the air 360 after it hit. Yeah. We flipped that way. We didn't flip end over end. And then it landed, and the fucking car was complete total. We had no injuries. We weren't even sore the next day. No seatbelt, no airbags.
No.
We get out of the car, and it's like fall.
Because we were tough.
And we walked to a fucking house, which turned out to be Jim Stobaugh's.
No cell phone.
No, Jim Stobaugh's house. They didn't answer the door because it was 1:00 in the morning. So we walked back into town, call at Perardi's house across from Herb's house. We called from Perardi's house, call the police, call her mom. Her mom comes, and Helen comes in that 4-wheel drive. Shit, I was just near the microphone. She comes in the 4-wheel drive. That great. I don't know if you remember Helen. They had this huge 4-wheel drive red truck.
I don't remember.
It easily pulled her Cavalier out or whatever the fuck it was. Yeah. And so Helena and I have our story straight because we've been walking for miles around in the dirt roads, country roads. And so we have our story fucking nailed down. No. Now she's working at the time, she was working as dispatch at the police station. Right?
Oh, okay.
So no cops, no cops, no cops. We get the car pulled out. No cops, no cops. Next day, we have to report it to insurance because so she reports it. Cops come. Instead, they question her at work. Hey, what happened? Deer came out, swerved, bang.
No, yeah, easy.
No problem. Who's in the car with you? Jeremy. I'm working at the fucking lumberyard then.
Yeah.
And all this, whatever. So no cell phones then. So I think I talked to her the day before, and she tells me that Hullwater is coming to talk to me at the lumberyard. I'm like, yeah, okay. So our story's straight. He didn't show. Next day he shows. I'm like, oh yeah. He goes, so what happened? So I tell him this exact same story and he asked me again. He goes, I'll go through the story again. So I go through it again. He's taking notes, and I'm like, there's nothing else really to tell you. He goes, well, is that it? Is there more? And I'm like, oh shit, what did Helena tell me? Because I knew they were friends.
So now you're afraid that
I'm lying.
Don't know the whole story.
Well, I'm afraid that she told him the truth, and now I'm lying.
Yes.
Right, which is the shittiest position to be in. And I'm like, God damn it. So I'm like, and I know now I'm thinking, oh wait, he's pretending. Because I know that he already knows.
Yes, because now he's pretending that he knows the truth.
Now he's going to get the truth out of me, and then he's going to go back to me like, you fucking lied.
Yeah.
But I knew they were friends, so I was like, fuck it. I'll be the bad guy.
Yeah.
So even then, I wasn't the smartest guy then, but I was like, I'm sticking to that. So he leaves, and then Helena calls me immediately, like, after work. Did you talk to Hullwater? And I'm like, which is not a bad imitation of Helena, by the way. Did you talk to Hullwater? And she goes, and I go, yeah. Did you tell him? What'd you tell him? I'm like, I told him our story. She goes, God damn it. I go, what? Well, I told him the truth. I'm like, God damn it. So then we got in zero trouble over it. And, everything was fine. But, Hullwater, I had to see him once in a while.
Yeah.
And he knew that I knew, and I knew that he knew.
That you lied to him.
Fucking sucked. So one day I was like, dude, you knew. Why didn't you just tell me? He's like, well, I had to. And he kind of smiled. I was like, fuck off, dude. It's shitty to do to a dude.
Yeah. I have to admit, as much as I hate small town life, it was fun growing up in a small community.
It was.
It was.
I would not want to. It was better. I hated. I had to move from Peoria to Farmington. I was forced.
Yeah.
And I tell you what, I don't remember. There was a culture shock then because when I moved from Lincoln to Peoria.
Well, it's like you're moving to the big city to Mayberry.
But it was different. I moved there in 1983 or something, 84, 83, and it was like stepping into 1955.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm not exaggerating. I remember Steve Fulton. He had a buzz cut. Nobody had buzz cuts.
Yeah, he didn't like me.
Well, I don't think he liked anybody. Yeah. But I remember whatever. He had a buzz cut, and he wore the same clothes that my dad grew up in.
Exactly.
And a lot of kids did.
Yeah.
And I just remember like, holy shit, I'm in a fucking time warp. At 83, and at a time, what you wore was important.
It was.
Now I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, now you don't care, but then it's like you had to kind of.
Yes, you had to fit in.
Yeah, with somebody.
Or buck.
I did both.
Yeah. And that was one of the things my parents used to bitch about. They're like, they would always say to me whenever I wanted something different, well, why do you have to be so different? And then if I said I wanted something everybody else had, they'd say, well, why do you have to be like everybody else? It's like, you know what? Fuck, I just like what I fucking like. I got my fucking motivation. I'm trying to get pussy.
Well, yeah, and